Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about some hypocrites who are telling me that transactional relationships and traditional relationships are totally different. And also address people who are telling me that I do not deserve my Social Security check because I'm living in a foreign country. And also that I left the US because I'm afraid and I can't handle it. Well, I served and I handled it and I did my job as a man. So I hope you enjoyed this video.
Hey guys, people ask me if money was not an object, would you still choose the Philippines? And my answer to that is money is always an object. Unless you have what I call that "fuck you" money, money will always be an object. So I would rather be here living a simpler life and not have to worry about paycheck to paycheck or Social Security check to Social Security check than be back in my home country worrying about if I have enough money for food, walking around Walmart trying to find a deal on a can of beans and a bag of rice at the end of the month and living on red beans and rice, like I know so many guys who have in the past. 99-cent hot dogs, well, maybe they're $1.50 now. But you can live cheap in the U.S., but you suffer. You don't eat good food. You buy the cheap stuff. Here in the Philippines, I went shopping and I bought ribeye steaks, Brazilian beef, and had it ground up for ground beef. I can afford that here. Back in the U.S., I could not afford that. I've seen pictures of packages of steaks, 2 or 3 steaks, and it's almost $100. And I'm enjoying my life. I have everything I need here, and money is not an object here. So no matter how much money I made in the U.S., if I was making $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month, the money I was making when I was working, almost $5,000 a month, still was a hindrance. I didn't have enough. People were always grabbing the money. You had bill after bill after bill. People who have low income, we're going to say the majority of people who decide that they want to retire on their Social Security, they have no other income, they don't have much in assets, their choices are few where to live. You can stay in your home country, and maybe the choices we made in life didn't work out. And we ended up not having a lot of assets. We didn't have a lot of income streams. Our only income stream was going to be our pension or our Social Security. And for those of us who only have our Social Security, the choices of places to live are few. You know, we could choose to live back in the U.S., back in our home country, leaning on a lot of social services, leaning on family, leaning on friends, subsidized rent, having the government help us with food stamps and such. Maybe that's not how we wanted to live. We've worked our whole life. Life was an uphill battle, and you lived paycheck to paycheck, and there wasn't a lot of room for savings. There wasn't a lot of room for thinking ahead. Maybe the companies you worked for went out of business, or they didn't offer that great 401 or pension plan. We're not all that lucky. Maybe we decided we did not want 25 years in the military. We just wanted to work a job. Maybe we worked for ourselves, entrepreneurs that didn't make it. Maybe you made it in the sense that you were able to live and have a family and raise your family, but saving a lot of money, not to become a millionaire, but, to have a couple $100,000 in the bank, maybe $500,000 in the bank, where people say you're comfortable at retirement at that amount. Well, we're not all that lucky. A lot of Americans, all these studies I read and these polls, a lot of Americans don't have money for an emergency. They don't have $10,000 saved because they're living paycheck to paycheck. And it's even harder now in the U.S. with the rents being so high and the cost of living so high. Maybe the new administration will bring costs down. Let's see. Let's hope so. Let's hope we can have a better life in the U.S. and in many other countries. But let's talk about the life here in the Philippines. If I had more money, where would I go? I would not have stayed in the U.S. unless I had so much money. I had that what you call "fuck money." I have so much money, I don't care what you say or what you do. Then I could have had a house with a pool, with a big wall around it, lived by myself, been able to afford a younger girlfriend, pay to play or something of that nature. But I don't think I would have found a younger woman that loved me. I don't think money was the issue at that point. But yes, if I had that few money, I would have stayed in the U.S., but I don't. And most people who come here to the Philippines do not have that kind of money. A lot of people say they do, and they're eating dried fish and rice at the end of the month because they really don't have much money at all. It's not bad to say you don't have much money when you come here to the Philippines. There's no shame to be on a small budget. You know, if you have $800 a month, you have $800 a month. Nothing you can do about it. If you have $5,000 a month, you have $5,000 a month. I do not consider that few money, but I do consider $5,000 a month a lot of money here in the Philippines. What I don't consider a lot of money is anything under $1,500. If you have less than $1,500, coming to the Philippines is the right move for you. You can live here comfortably on $1,500 a month US, but I don't think you could live in the US on $1,500 a month. Where are you going to live? Where are you going to find a place, unless it is one of these places where they base your rent on your income? And there's such a waiting list for that. You know, you have to be of retirement age. You know, you got to be, all your assets have to be gone. You have to sell all your stocks. If you have any, you have to sell any property you have. And you're living in a community of a bunch of poor people. That's all right, but that's not the life for me. But if you come to the Philippines with a little bit of money, you have some assets that you sell, and you have a little bit of a nest egg here in the Philippines, you can live like a king, man. You know, you can marry the maid. You can do it all here, and you don't need an extravagant amount of money. So I spend way under what I make. I'm one of the lucky few that can do that. There are so many people here who spend their entire check, their entire Social Security, their entire disability check to live here in the Philippines month to month. And at the end of the month, it's pretty tight. Are you a success or a failure here in the Philippines? It has a lot to do with the person you find to share your life with. Now, if you're a loner, you want to live by yourself, you don't want to be bothered with women, you'll be bothered with them on a pay-to-play basis. When you want to go on a date, you know, you feel like you're in need of some female companionship, and the rest of the time you're living by yourself. Do I call that winning? No, I don't call that winning. What I call winning is you find a good partner in life. She takes care of you, you take care of her. There's an exchange. It's a financial exchange. It's a traditional style of living, just like in the 50s and 60s when your father or your grandfather worked and your mother or your grandmother stayed home. People call that transactional. It sure was, and there was nothing wrong with that. And if you have that same transactional relationship here in the Philippines, there's nothing wrong with it. If it's what you want, if it's what she wants, you're hurting nobody, but you're enjoying your life. And maybe you're not traveling anymore. It's just like I am. I'm not going to Vietnam. I'm not going to Thailand or Cambodia. I really don't even want to travel back to the U.S. if I don't have to. I'm very happy with my life here in Dumaguete. You know, I have Janet. Janet has her son and me. As she says, she has 2 children to take care of. We're older. We're not babies anymore, but we act like it sometimes. That's her life. Her life is raising her son, taking care of me. My life is living a nice life, enjoying my life, taking care of the necessities of life, the expenses of life. And I have a great partner. I have a woman that I love, and I know she loves me. So the cost involved, it's my money. You know, I was going to spend it somewhere, but I die. I can't take it with me. So I have a partner. I have somebody who I enjoy being with. She takes care of me. Maybe she was my girlfriend at some point. Now she's my wife. And in a few years, she's going to be my caretaker. Who knows? But that's an agreement Janet and I have between us. And I hope when you come over here, you're going to find a partner like that, that you can finish out your life and enjoy your life stress-free. Now, life is never stress-free. There is so much stress in life, just like the stress I have sitting here with all these motorcycles going by, with no mufflers on, accelerating, popping, you know, they're just as noisy as hell. And that's stressful at times if I'm trying to make a video. But that's my stress level. I don't have the stress of, do I have enough money to pay the heating bill? Do I have to fill the, back in New Mexico, we had to fill the propane tank up so we had heat in the winter. Did I have that $2,000 to pay that? Did I have whatever it cost to pay that? Did I have money to pay that $200 a month cable bill? If you wanted internet and cable and all the different channels, $200, man. It's so ridiculous. No wonder everybody's watching YouTube and TikTok because it's free. So the expenses and the pressure and the hassle that you put on yourself back home by trying to live day to day, week to week, month to month. You get your check at the beginning of the month, whenever you get it, and you budget it out back home. You're hoping you made it to the end of the month. Here in the Philippines, $1,500, you can stretch that to the end of the month. As a matter of fact, you're going to have money left over. You're going to be able to save money. So money here is a big reason to live in the Philippines. And again, the question was, if money was not an issue, would you choose the Philippines? Yes is my answer. Yes is my answer. As long as it isn't, millions of dollars. If I had millions of dollars, our life is totally different. But having a couple $100,000 in the bank, having a pension of $3,000 a month, that is no financial strain on you at all here in the Philippines. Matter of fact, that puts you in the upper echelon. The vast majority of the people here are right around that $2,000 a month mark, and maybe they got $10,000 in the bank. People saying you need $500,000 when you come to the Philippines when you retire, I don't think so. You don't need that much, guys. Because if you don't have $500,000 in the bank in the U.S., I think that's where you're in trouble when you retire. You need a ton of money in the U.S. Now, yeah, you got health care, but you still have to pay the copay. You still have to pay the percentages, and everything's expensive. I remember, the elderly people in my church and in the area where I lived, they always had high medical bills, even though they had Medicare and they had Part B and Part A and they had the Advantage plan. They were always dishing out money for the doctor, for x-rays, for special things, for pills. My God, the medical care in the U.S., they call it the best in the world. But is it really? It seems like everybody's sick all the time in the U.S. So I don't know if it is the best medical care in the world. It's the most expensive medical care by far. Is it better than Philippine hospitals? In some cases, depends what you're getting treated for. But you have to take care of yourself. You have to make these decisions health-wise, finance-wise. I decided to let health not be an issue. I'll deal with my health on a day-to-day basis. I'll go to the hospital when I need to. I'll see a doctor when I need to. But I'm not going to let the fear that if I have a heart attack, if I have a stroke, and I don't have all the money necessary to get it taken care of properly, ruin my life. Because you're worrying about something that might never happen. The what ifs. What if this happens? What if I take the ferry and it sinks? What if a typhoon hits and the house gets blown away? What if the land that you buy, there's an earthquake and that piece of property is gobbled up and is not even part of the world anymore? What if? Let's not worry about what if. Let's worry about today and tomorrow and the next day. Let's worry about enjoying our life and having a great time. And let's not make money the number one topic of every conversation. And these transactional relationships that so many people talk about. Like I said, Grandpa had that. My dad had that. Transactional relationships are just part of life. Men used to work, women stayed home and had children, took care of the house. The transactional relationship was the man worked, he earned the money, the woman took care of everything else. And that's what you get here in the Philippines. So don't be hypocritical by saying, I want a traditional lifestyle, but I don't want to be the one paying. Well, if you want a traditional lifestyle, that's what it is. Tell me if I'm wrong if that's not what a traditional lifestyle is. So the answer to the question is, if money was not an object, would I still come to the Philippines? I think I would, because I would not have found a woman like Janet in the U.S. I could have bought a woman like Janet. I could have had somebody come over on the weekends, sexy, and hang around. I could have had maids come in, but they ain't cheap. They're not cheap. If you want a maid to come in once a week, it's going to cost you a couple $100. Well, here, a couple $100 gets you a maid for a month. And she's living in and she's cooking meals for you and she's going shopping for you. So the difference from the US to here on a budget is this is much more enjoyable. You're not what they call a loser here in the Philippines on a short budget. You're being conservative. You're trying to make the best with what you have and not be a burden on society. You know, you're trying to live on the money you've earned. And I'm really tired of people who have Social Security where people are criticizing them because they left the U.S. If you leave America, you shouldn't be allowed to take your Social Security with you. You shouldn't be allowed to take your pension with you outside of America. Oh, bull crap. You've earned your Social Security, you've earned your pension, and you live wherever you want in the world. That is the right of being an American, being a free man in America. You have the right to live anywhere in the world that will let you in. If they'll give you a visa, you can go there. America is not saying to you, you can't live there. The host country is the one that makes that decision. You're allowed to go wherever you want. And if you look on the Social Security website of countries where they will mail you your check, there are so many countries. And what countries where the banks are that the Social Security will deposit in those banks? So many countries. It's just a handful that you can't. America says we can live wherever we want. We can live in Panama. We can live in Belize. We can live in Cambodia. We can live in the Philippines. We can live in India. We can live anywhere we want and get our Social Security because we've earned it. And I'm so tired of people saying, because you're not in the U.S., you're running away from your problems. You're running away from everything. Well, in the 60s and the 70s, when Vietnam War was going on, who ran away then? I didn't run away. I served. You know, I didn't run away. I didn't say my government was bad. I didn't agree with them, but I did what American men were supposed to do. I took up arms, I joined the service, and I defended my country. What about other things we've done? You know, in the 70s, 80s, when everything was going well in the 80s and in the 90s, I worked. I paid taxes. I contributed to society. And I did everything I was supposed to do. I obeyed the laws. And now that I've reached my 60s and my 70s, for some bozo to come out and say, you shouldn't be getting your Social Security when you're out of the country. We're going to cut your Social Security because you don't deserve it. That's not the case. I earned it already. I had a contract with the government. I had a deal with the U.S. government. I give you some of my check and Social Security payment. And when I turn the retirement age, of full retirement age with Social Security, I can receive my Social Security benefits. That's my right. Now, my other right is to Medicare Part A, Part B. I am entitled to Part A without even being in the U.S. I get that. Part B, I'm supposed to contribute. I'm not there in the U.S., so I don't contribute. But if I was, I would gladly contribute. It's just I can't use it here. I don't see the point in having it. It's like car insurance. You don't have a car, why would you buy car insurance? But to answer the question, would I choose the Philippines? Yes, I would. I would choose to live in the Philippines because I like the society here. I like how they speak English. I like the climate. I just like everything. I enjoy the financial freedom that I have here in the Philippines that you don't have in the U.S. because everything is so expensive. Guys, I hope that answered all your questions. And until next time, thanks for watching.